podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of All About Android. This is episode 125, recorded on Tuesday, September 3rd, 2013. We are your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. There we go. My name is Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards.
I'm Gina Trapani.
Oh, I tripped up right there at the end. You know, it's just one of those days. One of those days where everything goes wrong at the very last second. But we got this show off on a hitch. Actually, I'm kind of amazed. We kind of started this show earlier than we normally do somehow. I don't know how that happened.
Just a couple of minutes. It's not like that early. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
That's true. We were able to kill some serious time. We probably could have started it 5 minutes earlier than we did, but somehow we stretched it out again. Well, I'm stoked to have you guys here. It's all three of us today. We don't have a special guest this week, but that's okay. We've got just a ton of awesome news to talk about. We have the next version of Android, and no, it's not key lime pie. You'll know what we're talking about here in a second. More management shifts in the Android team, and Google's own smartwatch initiative, plus so much more. What do you think, guys? Should we just get right into it?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
so much going on.
Let's do it. News. And in fact, we probably got to start this off with a little breaking off a piece of that news.
Give me a break, give me a break, break me off a piece of that, break me off a piece of that, break me off a piece of that KitKat bar.
Yeah. Epic. See, it gives all new meaning to breaking news.
Wow, that was inspired. Bravo.
So that's our new breaking news bumper.
Yeah, for now.
I like it.
I don't know. Maybe we keep that until KitKat. Well, until the thing that we're about to talk about is no longer. Ron,
I think we absolutely keep that until it moves on. But so the big news that came today, which honestly, was anybody expecting this?
No.
Did anybody see this coming at all?
No. And if they say that they were, they're lying.
Yes, absolutely. So the big news is that Android, today Google announced the new version of Android, which isn't going to be Android version 5.0. It's actually Android 4.4. And as we all know, the alphabetical naming sequence of operating systems, you know, previously we've had Jelly Bean and Ice Cream Sandwich and Gingerbread and Honeycomb. And the key thing is that up to this point, they've all been generic names of desserts and candies, you know, Jelly Bean or Ice Cream Sandwich, not a specific brand. But with Android 4.4, we welcome the KitKat. So I got a prop.
Yeah, I think
it's raining KitKats in here. Oh, yeah. You know, the one day I don't come into the studio, it rains KitKats.
Yeah, hey, you got to get in here more often. And now we have a reason for it to rain KitKats.
Yeah, exactly. So now the way this all unfolded was that they announced that it would be called KitKat. At the Google campus, there is a very large statue of a Android little guy made out of KitKats, as they often do. They make the little statue of the little Android dude. This is not quote unquote KitKat. This is not any sort of like a nod to KitKat. This is straight up brand integration.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, KitKat announced I believe international kind of what's the word, promotion to give away a Nexus 7 and things like that. And they created an amazing promotional video announcing the next version of KitKat, version 4.4, which is probably one of the best product videos I've ever seen in a while.
Yeah, let's watch a couple of seconds of this.
And it really does taste as good as it looks. Because when we set out to create confectionery perfectionery by designing the perfect chocolate bar, we nailed it first time. With adjustable orientation, it works perfectly in portrait or landscape for a truly panoramic taste experience that will
This
leave
one is
you
genius.
up in the cloud. With global coverage, you can take it
Excellent.
anywhere.
Now I just want to do that with my KitKat
It's
bar.
extremely unequivocal, 10 millimeters thick, 1 finger long, and 4 fingers wide. KitKat 4.4 is the perfect second screen companion.
They did a good job with this.
They did a great job. Now, what's
kind of walks that fine line. Like it could get really cheesy, and I guess kind of is, but
I mean,
still,
that's Johnny Ive, right? That's supposed to be Johnny Ive. Yeah.
Yeah, it's clearly taking a nod or a dig at Apple. But what I find interesting about this story, and apparently, who was it? J.R. Raphael over at there's the giveaway website. Now this is what's interesting. This is Nestle KitKat, by the way, which is the UK distribution of KitKat. Whereas in the States, and if you look at your KitKats you have in front of us, KitKat is distributed by HB Reese Candy Company, a division of the Hershey Company. So I'm wondering if this is. I didn't get a chance to look into the contest rules, but this is the UK KitKat, which is slightly different than the US KitKat.
Yes, they had to reach the deal. Yes. So continue. We'll talk about it.
But anyway, so J.R. Raphael over at Computer World wrote a great blog post about it, and what I thought was interesting. As soon as I saw this, my first thought was, "Wow, they're selling off the naming rights of the operating system. That's crazy." But Raphael explains that, and he quotes, according to the BBC, they actually reached out to the KitKat folks last year and came to an agreement and kept it wraps up until now. Which, by the way, it's September. That's insane that this has not leaked up to that point. So good job on their end. And a Google exec was quoted as saying, "This is not a money changing hands kind of deal." So this truly just seems to be corporate synergy and the people who own a candy that starts with K choosing to be associated and promoting Android, which is fascinating.
That is kind of fascinating.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, I gotta say. Yeah. Although it's a great excuse to continue eating KitKat. By the way, if the show ends and these are all gone, shoot me. But it'll be very hard for me to not eat the rest of these.
But I think the most important thing about this is what Android 4.4 KitKat will bring us. What features it will have, what changes will come to the operating system. What do you guys think of the whole breakdown of all those features?
No clue whatsoever. We know, we know nothing right now. We know a little bit more than we knew before this morning when suddenly KitKat was the big meme on the internet. But we know absolutely nothing other than version number and name, and that's exactly what J.R. Raphael had said on his post. And I don't know. Let the conjecture begin. This is crazy news time. It's starting to really ramp up, and Google obviously timed this really well because this is, we're leading right into the big unveiling of Apple's next kind of generation iOS, iPhone release. I believe that announcement is next week, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, Google really stole the mind share today. They really stole the social media aspect.
In a creative way too, I would never have saw. And I saw, and KitKat was trending on Twitter, and everybody was talking about it. But immediately, I wanted to know what Sundar Pichai had to say about it.
Oh yes.
And so, if we can throw it to Sundar, he posted on Google Plus today.
There we go.
On my return from Asia, I was thrilled to find this guy waiting to greet me out on the front lawn. Love the new #Android KitKat statue and can't wait to release the next version of the platform that is as sweet as the candy bar that's one of our team's favorites. Smiley.
Aww. So, and that was one big reason that they said they picked it, is because their engineering team, their favorite candy bar or their favorite kind of snack or food to eat was KitKat, and so they chose it as a result of that. This changes everything. Don't you think this like changes everything that we thought we knew about Android? We thought that brand names were off limits when it came to the dessert that was being named for the version. We were wrong, or we are wrong.
I can't believe that no money is changing hands in either direction. I can't believe that Google's not paying them for naming to use the name, and I can't believe that Nestle, who does license the KitKat name to Hershey here in the States, I can't believe that they're not paying for, it's like, if they were able to do this and have everybody be happy about it, then bravo, man. I think this is amazing. But it doesn't.
Nestle is guaranteed multiple huge shipments of KitKats for every at least Google I/O that goes on, right?
Yeah, right.
Not like I'll get any of those because they won't get invited.
Aww. But we'll break you off a piece of our invite if we can make it work. All right. Sorry. Yeah.
So what's great is that this story just gets better and better, because not only is it bizarre and not only is it global, but then on top of it, Google released a video celebrating the KitKat statue at the office and announcing the KitKat, and in the video, there's an unannounced Nexus phone, somebody using it. And so they immediately had to pull it down and take it out. But of course, the internet being what the internet is, we caught it. People caught it, and we have screenshots of it. And there's a dude using what looks like a new Nexus phone that's not out yet.
Yeah, or the
giant camera.
Nexus.
The Nexus phone.
The Nexus phone, yes.
Yeah, the more I look at it, the more it does look like some sort of reflection thing, where it's whatever it's pointed at, it's not reflecting part of the end. But interesting look at and Google has since removed the video, so the video's not up anymore, like you said. So that feels like a little bit of a admission to something. They had to.
Nothing to see here. Move it along.
Which
something
never works on the internet.
Right.
But that looks like a larger form factor, probably, maybe even a 5-inch device. Could be the Nexus 5, maybe. I don't know. And the camera sensor is pretty large on it too. I'm suddenly very excited to see this device if it comes to surface here.
And how does that get through? Like that's what I don't understand. If they're able to keep quiet, that they're going to name this KitKat for 9 months, at least 9 months. How does someone using a device that's not out yet get into that video? It's just
really good question. Really good question. Because you have to imagine this video passed through a lot of eyes before. Well, maybe not. I mean, it was just the unveiling of a statue on a lawn. Maybe it didn't pass through many eyes.
How does the guy holding the secret phone not look at the guy who's taking video of him and say, yo, please don't take video of me with this super secret phone?
Yes, but this is not unprecedented for Google, because remember the Google, what was it, the Moto X event, Robert Scoble was there with glass. And in Scoble's video was someone from Motorola holding the dang phone, and that leaked, right?
But that was Scoble, like with glass on. Like that's completely different than like I have a gigantic hey, we're all like recording this.
I don't know. I guess that comes down to, were all of these people that are out there recording this told not to do that? Because, this could be documenting for internal purposes as well. I mean,
that's a good point.
That dude holding that phone probably isn't thinking about that. He's just going, hey, look, cool statue.
He's obviously not thinking about it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, clearly
that dude is working on the team, developing the phone. That's what he used. They did a video. The agency put it together. Somebody at Google and marketing was like, yeah, it looks great, and didn't look at it because they might not even know about the phone.
Right. It's just another black slab phone.
Yeah. Exactly.
From the back, but turns out that actually is very different. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, wow, yeah, that looks pretty cool.
I would have paid so much money to be in the office when that phone rang. And they're like, get that video down. Right?
Or it's just a really well-timed publicity stunt. No, you don't think so?
Too elegant, too clever. No way.
Too clever? That's not that clever. Put in an unreleased phone, release the video, wait for people to take screenshots and capture the video, and then take it down. You've got everybody talking about it a week before Apple's big event. Now suddenly it's on the mind. Wow, that looks like a really nice Nexus device. I kind of want to wait and see what that's all about. That's not that clever.
With the lack of feature set on Android 4.4, you might have a point there. That might have been the Easter egg they got picked up on. I don't know. If they are, I will tip my hat to them. That is wonderful marketing.
Yeah, you never know these days. I feel like this is happening all the time, and this show is no different. Our hardware section is full of little leaks, leading up to IFA or IFA, whatever you want to call it. So it's part of the marketing game nowadays. To leak your product.
This whole thing, the KitKat thing, was a brilliant marketing thing, right? I mean, do regular consumers know the dessert code names for versions? I mean, no. People say, the Google phone or Android, right? But knowing the dessert, you have to be really close to it, right? So many people were talking about this today. It basically almost eclipsed, at least in my corner of the internet, which is admittedly more Android centric. This eclipsed the Apple announcement. I mean, people were really talking about it, and it really does. It's kind of meaningless, right? Like, it's not key lime pie. It's much better than key lime pie. It seems like people's first reaction was, oh no, like Google's an advertising company, so clearly they sold the name to the operating system, and what does this mean? I had people saying, isn't that trademarked? They were it felt like folks got a little bit up in arms. It is kind of amazing that no money changed hands, but it was just in the end, it was a brilliantly clever, perfect marketing stunt that got a lot of people talking who care about who care about Android. I'm more interested in why the version number is only 4.4. Android really slowed down with the major version. I mean, we almost never see major version ticks, or we haven't seen one for a while.
Well, that's clearly because this isn't going to be a major version. I wonder how much of this, honestly, I wonder how much of this is marketing. I wonder when we see the feature set of 4.4, it's going to be a little more services, a little more behind the scenes stuff, and maybe some UI stuff. And I have no data. I have no knowledge of anything that's coming. But given the marketing push, I kind of wonder if this is just more of a awareness thing than a, full feature thing. That's why they didn't go full 5.0.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm just excited because this opens up doors, and I can only hope that by the time we get to T, we can have Android Timeout, named after my favorite British chocolate bar, the Timeout bar.
It's pretty obscure, but hey, I wouldn't put it past Google at this point. I didn't think KitKat was possible, so you never know.
Nutella?
Nutella.
Oh. So wait a minute. Okay, before we move on, is this selling out? Because there's a part of this that feels just kind of dirty, right?
Yeah. Well, it depends. Well, no, but who's selling out?
Right. No, it's true. Google's not.
If KitKat goes to Google, I'm sorry, I got a mouthful of KitKat. If KitKat goes to Google and was like, we want you to name it after our thing. That's genius marketing, and that's a great connection because, well, I don't know genius, but it's a great connection. People are going to like, hey, I love KitKat. I'll check out the phone, vice versa, that sort of thing. If it's Google going to KitKat and saying, we want your name, then I don't know what the rules around selling out are anymore. I lost track of it after Green Day.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's all right. It does feel weird. It does feel weird, though. I'm with you, Jason.
Yeah, it just kind of feels a little
It tastes
dirty.
delicious, though.
It does.
Tastes delicious. Listen, the only people who care about this are developers, and we consume a lot of candy to begin with.
Yes.
I was so susceptible to suggestion. There was a point this afternoon where my mouth was covered in melted KitKat because I didn't even make it home with me because I was picking some out for the show. And here we are eating it on the air. It totally worked.
Totally worked.
I
feel dirty.
If this is what selling out tastes like, then I'm all for it. Bring it on.
Fair enough. All right. That makes perfect sense. Well, let's move on to something not quite so delicious.
Not quite so delicious. The management shakeup at Android continues. Hugo Barra, who's the VP of Android Product Management and a familiar face at Google I/O announcements, he's the smiley guy who wears the short sleeve black T-shirts. I think you can, if you do an image search for him, you'll see him holding up a Nexus 7. Yeah, that guy. That's Hugo Barra.
He was at the Korea one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that, the Samsung event? Yeah.
Yep. Hugo Barra took to Google Plus to confirm that he is leaving Google to become VP of Chinese phone maker Xiaomi, with the intent of expanding the company's global business. Xiaomi sold 7 million phones last year, pacing at selling 15 million this year, all while focusing on the Chinese market. And so Hugo is going to be moving on and helping them out with that. Google, of course, said, hey, we're glad that Hugo, we loved having him, and we're glad to see that he's staying within the ecosystem. Xiaomi's phones run Android. And Xiaomi is looking to expand their market, and they think that Barra will be able to help them out. Their Mi2 handset is the third best-selling phone model behind the HTC One and the Samsung Galaxy S4 in China. And they recently introduced a lower-cost model phone known as Red Rice that sells for $799 Chinese yuan, or that's $130. And they sold 100,000 of those devices in 90 seconds. That's what they do. They do these batches of phones, they offer them online, and they sell out within minutes. So this is really interesting. So after Andy Rubin and after Jean-Baptiste Query, am I saying it right? JBQ, and now Hugo Barra. So you ask the folks at Google what's going on in the Android team there. They all say, we got plenty of smart people working here. There's a deep bench. We'll find a replacement for Hugo. No big deal. But, at the same time, it seems like there is quite a bit of movement going on. I'm not sure what that all means.
Well, I think that's a natural thing. Like people spend a certain amount of time. They get kind of frustrated. A new opportunity pops up. They move on. I don't know how much there is to read into it. I think that Xiaomi's got a great person with Hugo Barra. He seems like he knows what he's doing. So be curious. I mean, selling 100,000 phones in 90 seconds, that's crazy. So.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. The folks at Google said that Barra was the go-to guy if you wanted a kick-ass demo. He was the guy that kind of got up and smiled and showed off new products. He really didn't. Yeah, he was really good at that. Very much of that. Yeah, so I hope that they get someone else, or maybe I don't know. Maybe Sundar will do more of that at Google I/O is coming up. It's true. It is a natural thing. People see new opportunities. And I think once you've been in a company for a long time or you want to see a new facet of the business versus, being a product manager at Android at Google, I think is a different thing than working at a manufacturer. Maybe this will make the relationship between Google and manufacturers better because he has kind of the view from both sides.
Yeah, and it certainly probably means that we're going to hear a lot more about Xiaomi abroad. That's obviously part of their big plan here. So, they kind of go from a name that at least here in the United States, you've heard about kind of on the periphery, suddenly became, possibly they become more relevant over the next couple of years. Hugo Barra is certainly a great person to have in that role. As far as, the names that have been leaving Android, I think obviously we're all on the same page. Opportunity kind of comes out of success, and Android's been incredibly successful. For however many years, 4 or 5 years, that these people have been working on these teams, they've gone from Android that was this little thing, this pie in the sky idea, to this insanely, successful global entity.
Multi-headed beast in a lot of ways.
And they built a name for themselves. Not to mention, Android probably internally has changed a lot from when they started. So it's time for new blood, and I don't think that's a bad thing for Android. I think that's actually very good. When Matthias Duarte came on from Palm, I mean, he brought new blood into Android, and we see the benefit of that every time we pick up our device. And by and large, he's a big reason why Android has matured in the way that it has over the last year and a half. So
yeah, that's a good point.
It's not a bad thing. So good for you, Hugo. Find that opportunity.
Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, you've been wonderful to Android and to Google I/O, because he was very, very. He was all over Google I/O. Yeah. And then real quick here, I put this in just because actually a lot of people tweeted at me and said, hey, are you going to talk about this and all about Android? And I thought it was kind of an interesting discussion point. Pressy, which is a new Kickstarter. It's a little hardware kind of plug for your headphone jack. And it aims to bring another button to your device, but it's customizable. It integrates with their app to initiate different actions of your choosing. So basically, you put this thing into your headphone jack, and it talks with the app that's loaded on the device, and you can set it up so that, like, a short press does one thing, launches an app or sends a text message to somebody or whatever. A long press does something different. 2 short presses does something else, or whatever. It's just like another button that you can add to your device. 40 days to go, already near $400,000 in this Kickstarter. So it's surpassed its goal of $40,000 quite a bit, and it's probably going to do a lot more in the next 40 days. What do you guys think? Do we need more buttons on our phones?
I'm not against buttons.
Yeah.
I don't want another button, but I really like the idea of like a hardware integrate, like a clever new sort of way to use your headphone jack of all things.
Totally.
Like these kind of little hardware hacks are kind of cool. I didn't get a chance to watch the video. Prying that thing out of my headphone jack when I actually want to use headphones looks like it won't necessarily be easy. But yeah, I think it's clever, although I'm not like dying for another button.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too.
I like the customizable aspect of it. I do like that. I like, like lets you kind of hack your phone. Everybody has that one thing that they wish their phone could do. And honestly, them showing just right now, taking it out, it didn't look that bad at all.
It didn't look, yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right.
Probably depends on the way the headphone jack insert sets in different devices.
Yeah, can we see that again? Can you back up? Can we? Yeah, that would be.
And then it has a little key mount for your keychain, so that when you take it out, you can mount it in your keychain and you still have it. Also, this is kind of interesting with the app, at least an extension. You can use the button on your headphones, for the button that they often have to do the same thing once you have the app kind of installed and running.
Interesting. I got to say, even though that looks pretty easy, that also looks like, wow, I'm going to lose it quickly.
Yeah,
the keychain hookup is cute, but yeah, it does look like something you could lose easily.
So there you go, Pressy. If you are feeling the pinch and you need one more button, maybe for like a camera, an instant camera shutter, that would be a good use for it. Check it out. Search for Pressy, Pressy on Kickstarter, specifically for Android devices. So that's why we're talking about it. Interesting stuff. There we go.
All right. So next up, we got an email from Kyle from Jacksonville, Florida. And Kyle says, hey, AAA crew, while I'm somewhat new to Android, I find that I'm already a power user and love the great things I'm able to customize on the platform. He's very modest as well. One big question I have, though, is about the GPS toggle that is often found in the notification shade. One of my early memories of Android back when I was still using iOS is that people were always enabling and disabling the GPS toggle for every app that needs it. I've heard so many reasons why, such as saving the battery and also for privacy reasons. So when I switched to Android, I joined the bandwagon and have a custom tasker profile set up to try and enable and disable GPS only when I need it. The solution doesn't work 100% of the time and sometimes seems like more work than it should be. Welcome to Android, Kyle. So my question is all this really necessary? What risks, if any, are there from leaving GPS on all the time? I feel like more and more Google services need GPS, such as location reminders, that it would be much easier just to keep it on. What's your guys' opinion? Thanks so much and love the show. This is something I wrestle with a lot. I keep GPS off. I don't know why. I turn it on to use Google Maps. I turn it on to check in on Foursquare, and then I turn it back off. I tell myself I'm saving battery. I have no science to back that up.
I don't think that you're saving as much as you might think.
I bet you I'm not.
Yeah, they've made changes in Android in the past couple of versions for a while now that basically manage these much better. Now, obviously, there are rogue apps that can kind of take over and kick into GPS, but for the most part, when you're turning GPS on, you're not turning on the antenna. You're opening the gate to enable an app to turn on the antenna, so that when you launch your Maps app, it then activates that antenna and taps into the GPS signal. If the Maps app isn't launched, or you're not running something like navigation or whatever in the background, then it's not going to necessarily use that GPS. I think as far as this email is concerned, you know, asking is this really necessary? I don't think that it's necessary, but I do think that there is something to be said for if there's a particular app that's behaving badly, this might be something that you would want to consider. Doing it at a blanket way, like it's a really good point. So many of the Google services now, and more of them will probably do this, need those kind of services. They're really kind of getting into, you know, allowing these apps and their apps in particular to tap into the entire kind of Google services platform. And a lot of those have something to do with your location and all that kind of stuff. And to miss out on that by turning off GPS, you know, or having this app, you know, Tasker, something like that, manage it smartly in the background, I think it's going to do more harm than it does good. That's my input, but I don't know if it's necessarily 100%. That's how I operate my device anyways. I keep it on all the time and I don't notice it.
Yeah, I mean, I keep it off, but like, if I had more time and the inclination, I you know, maybe I'll do this tomorrow. Maybe I'll keep it on. I'll try to keep track of my battery run out rate and keep it on one day, turn it off the other day, and then do a scientific A/B test and see what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, because you see when the GPS is in use, right? You get that icon up at the top, that little circle or whatever the icon is on your platform, so you know when it's being used. I guess the question there is it being used when my screen is off? And that's a harder one to answer. There are probably ways to analyze your system performance and really see if that's happening. But my guess is it's probably not happening as much as you might guess that it is.
Yeah. And I think you're probably right.
Look at the battery section of settings, and I keep GPS on all the time. I know that I've used it today, and it's not even listed here as using battery. Now I can't tell if that's because it's not part of you know, the battery usage area, or because it really has used so little. It would be nice if there was a more scientific way to measure, you know, how much battery it used versus, you know, having it on for a day and taking notes.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that you can't unless you monitor every bit of data transfer and activity. Like, no, I can't imagine any day is exactly the same. Although I guess on the aggregate they probably are over time. Like, what am I going to do? I'm going to check email. I'm going to check Google Maps. Like, you're kind of doing the same things over and over again. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one, but I my guess is that you can keep it on and you wouldn't notice it. It wouldn't be as bad as you think.
Yeah.
So,
agreed. So there you go, Kyle. Hope that is helpful to you. All right, we mentioned a little bit about speculation on the hardware front. Let's jump into hardware and talk about that.
Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time, Samsung is holding a big event, and actually we're going to be covering it here on Twit, and I'll be on with a panel of the TNT hosts, I believe, right, Jason?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'll be
very
here
excited about that.
10 a.m. Pacific. So
10 a.m.
the
Pacific.
normal live time of Tech News Today. TNT is bumping back to 9 a.m. Pacific. Samsung live coverage at 10 a.m.
Yep. So at the Samsung event, we're expecting that the Galaxy Gear smartwatch will be announced. And on the eve, there are tons of leaks and photos and speculation about what that smartwatch is going to look like and do. So let's start. First, we had VentureBeat's Christina Farr had some hands-on time with one of the prototype devices, and there was a photo published, and it looks like it was an image that was taken from a promotional video. Cool. It looked like kind of an oversized watch-type device with the Samsung logo, 3-inch square screen, just big enough to be a little too big, as you can see in that photo there. Wi-Fi built in. This is all speculation, and this is one leaked photo. Wi-Fi built in, which means that it wouldn't need to be paired to a smartphone. And what else? I think that was basically it for that leak. So then GigaOM came out and said those images were of a prototype. That is not what's going to ship tomorrow. Oh wait, I'm on the wrong leak here. We got a few leaks. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what GigaOM said that we know about the Galaxy Gear. It's going to be high quality OLED displays will show the full spectrum of color. Display will be around 2.5 inches diagonally, 3 inches diagonally, including the case. They'll have a dual-core processor, the Samsung Exynos 4212 dual-core, 1.5 gigahertz. It has a camera and a microphone integrated into the strap and even tiny speakers. Built-in NFC, Bluetooth 4.0 LE. The Gear is powered by Android 4.3 with the keyboard feature turned off. And the device won't have a browser and will need a phone to tether to the internet. So that contradicts the first leak, which said that it would be just Wi-Fi. It will need a Samsung device with a watch-focused app store to install apps on the watch. Built-in accelerometer, other sensors that will allow it to act as a quantified self device. So it's got that health angle. Battery power be about 24 hours with modest use, but around 10 hours with more active usage. Okay, that was GigaOM. Later on from GigaOM, where GigaOM was saying they're hearing it's going to be 10 hours of battery life, period, with two storage options. I think it was 1 gigabyte of memory and a choice in storage of either 6 gigabytes or 8 gigabytes capacity, which seems like a lot for a watch. And then finally, Leakster at EvLeaks on Twitter posted screenshots from the Galaxy Gear Manager Companion app. This is the app that you're going to run on your phone that will pair the Gear watch to your smartphone. And these screenshots look actually pretty legit. They show an NFC pairing system, not unlike the latest Sony smartwatch. A few apps on the screen, not unlike the Pebble smartwatch. And not too much else. Looks pretty standard watch pairing app. So this is what's gonna get announced tomorrow. I'm excited to see what this is gonna be like. I gotta tell you, the biggest concern seems to be the 10 hours of battery life, which frankly is just too short for a watch. Watch has gotta go all day long. And also if it's proprietary to Samsung devices, that will also be kind of a disappointment to me. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the leaks? What are you hoping for the Galaxy Gear? Are you excited about the event tomorrow? What do you think?
I get the feeling about this that I get when I watch an announcement about like the Samsung Galaxy S4 and it does this really cool eye tracking thing. Like they're tying it to Samsung, and no doubt it will probably do cool, interesting things, I would imagine, I would hope anyways. But I'm just not sure how much of a splash it's going to make if it's tied entirely to Samsung devices. It just feels like this kind of insular kind of hardware offering. But I guess that benefits Samsung because that keeps people in their world. But I don't know. I'm not excited about it. I was really happy to find out that the prototype, that the pictures were potentially of a prototype and not the actual device, because when I first saw that I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Nope.
Nope.com. I really hope that that's not the case. I don't know. And then as far as battery life is concerned, the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, in order for a smartwatch to do everything that people want it to do and have the battery life that people want it to do, we need better battery technology. I just don't know how much battery you can really cram into that small of a form factor and get a long enough life with it doing all of these other cool, interesting things. Because people, I imagine, are going to want their smartwatch to perform the way their phone does, possibly to be a replacement. Although in this case, it wouldn't be a replacement. It would be a companion piece to your phone.
Right.
So,
right. I mean, a watch is the kind of thing is you wake up in the morning, you get dressed, you put your watch on at 6 a.m. and you go to bed at 11 or 12.
Yeah,
that's,
you don't think about it.
That's 15, 16 hours, right? You don't want to have to charge your watch. I mean, people don't wear watches anymore to begin with, right? So for folks to start wearing watches again, I mean, it has to be one of those things you just don't think about anymore.
Yeah.
Even maybe more so than Google Glass, I think, to some extent.
Mm-hmm. Ron, what do you think?
Not feeling
I'm not
it.
impressed. Nope.
You're not impressed by these unofficial leaks?
Yeah, but these so recently I became very interested in the Pebble, as you noticed, and I was like, all right, I'm going to wait before I pull the trigger on a Pebble because I want to see what happens with the Samsung one. And the more I hear about it, the less enthused I am for what Samsung is going to deliver tomorrow. I'm like waited with bated breath for tomorrow. I can't wait to see what this is going to be because there are little aspects of it that I find really interesting. And I think if you took the pieces of each little leak and made it interesting, that would be my dream kind of smartwatch kind of option.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Samsung's just going to Samsung it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's what kills me is that I don't want a separate app store. I don't necessarily need, like a camera in the phone, like Dick Tracy, that's kind of cool. But what I would like is I would like a Pebble that has a good display. That's what I would like. Something that I could pair with my phone or even run on as a unique device running its own flavor of Android, but that can link to the phone via Bluetooth or whatever. And allow me to do whatever I want to do and not lock me into an ecosystem. The moment I hear that, I just turn off. It's got to be open.
Totally.
But I understand why that doesn't go with Samsung's product strategy. So I'm not surprised.
Absolutely agree.
I don't know.
Yeah, the Gear Manager has to run on any phone. The apps should be available. Sure, fine. If Samsung wants their own app store, fine. But I'll also release the apps, if they're straight up Android apps, to the Play Store as well. I completely agree. Make it open. But I mean, Samsung is possibly building their own mobile operating system, right? I mean, they might not be too long for the Android world. So that may be why they're doing this. I am curious about the health apps. I think that sensors in the watch tracking things like, I don't even know what, heart rate and that sort of thing. That's interesting to me. But again, yeah, I feel the same way. This is going to be the GS4 all over again, where it's just like, apps, Samsung apps and apps, more and more Samsung apps that are specific for Samsung hardware, which is really a turnoff.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, speaking of Samsung, the rumors continue. A photo of the rumored Samsung Galaxy Note 12.2 has been leaked. And one of the great aspects of it is it features that home button that exists on the Galaxy phones.
The Squircle.
The Squircle, but given the scale of it, it's enormous. So it's just a big old home button at the bottom of this.
It's like a home bar.
Yeah, exactly, the home bar. But yeah, so this 12.2-inch tablet would use a 25 by 60 by 1600 display panel for the tablet. Which is pretty much the kind of standard kind of resolution for the panel for tablets higher than 10 inches. This is important to note that this would not be the largest tablet, although it sure looks like it, because actually Toshiba already has a 13.3-inch that they released early last year, but I don't know if that's still in production or not. But this is a pretty dang big tablet, that's for sure. We joked about how big the 10 inches were. The 12 inch is going to be enormous, so... it'll be interesting to see this come in the wild. So far, this is the first leaked image that weve seen of it.
And it's part of the Note brand, which or the Note category of Samsung apps. So I guess a larger tablet form factor kind of makes sense, right? People using a Note, wanting to be artistic, or, use it for artistic reasons or whatever, could probably totally appreciate that larger screen real estate. But again, it seems kind of niche-y for the most part. But.
Niche-y is a good word.
Niche-y. We'll talk about niche-y. Continuing the Samsung rumors or things popping up. The Samsung Galaxy Note 3 is starting to we're starting to see some imagery come from that, from of all places, a Russian electronics retailer website. So we see the Galaxy S3. We see some photos here. And it pretty much shows, kind of comparing it to what we've seen from the Galaxy 2. It looks very similar but evolved. And we also get our first kind of sense of pricing, where apparently this Russian electronics retailer has got the price tag of 29,900 rubles, which is about $900 US. So Speculation is that the price would land at about $700 US, with it being slightly more expensive than in Russia because it's Russia. But so I don't know. Do you take these for real? These photos that's popping up on this Russia website? Do you think this is legit?
Who knows if it's legit? I think they look pretty convincing, but I think what this boils up to is that we probably have, yet another jam-packed presentation for Samsung tomorrow, unveiling a lot of kind of potentially key kind of products in their portfolio. This is definitely one that people are waiting for. It looks nice. It looks Samsung-y. I don't know. I don't know what more to say about it. I guess, actually looking at the side shots of it and everything, it totally has that kind of iPhone 5 kind of edge to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It does.
So
I think everyone just has to come watch the event tomorrow.
There we go.
I'm going to be watching
That's
with
what we
bated
gotta
breath.
do. All right, I'm realizing that my notes for the Whim 1 didn't make it, so I'm going to fly by the seat of my pants on this one, which shouldn't be too difficult. Now, Whim Labs, I actually reviewed their wearable technology, I think it was like a year and a half ago. They had this little kind of block of Android, to put it strangely, but basically it's a tiny little device that can lock into, in this case, a watch strap. But you could really lock it into anywhere. They were kind of touting it as being the kind of thing that you could attach to a necklace or whatever. Ultimately, it was just wearable technology, and it was running kind of a lower powered version of Android underneath, but it would sync with your device. It would do it would still kind of need to be tethered to your device for the most part to get things like SMS notifications and all that kind of stuff. Well, at some point, Whim just kind of went dark, and you went to their website and they're like, hey, we're not here anymore. Sorry. Thanks for supporting us. You've been great. And, I honestly thought that this first developer preview was interesting. I think for the review, I think I gave it a try for developers, don't buy for consumers, because it felt early days. It felt kind of like interesting, neat things that you could do with it potentially, but the support wasn't there. Maybe in the next iteration it would be. Well, turns out that Google sounds like they acquired WiMM Labs last year and quietly shut them down, which kind of points in the direction of Google working on, and this has kind of been rumored up until now, their own kind of smartwatch or wearable watch / computer. So who knows what they're doing with Whim in collaboration, thanks to this acquisition. But I think it's really interesting. I think it's kind of the extension of what they've done with Glass, kind of breaking it out onto other parts of the body, essentially. But let's see here. There's a Cult of Android article that I thought was very interesting, written, of course, by Mike Elgin, who's totally a friend of Twit. And he just kind of posits kind of like, this isn't going to be just a smartwatch. This is going to be like your Google Now extension, which when you think about Google Now on a watch, like, you know what? That makes perfect sense.
It does.
Yes.
This gets me excited.
Yeah.
This is what I'm looking for. So.
I thought it might. Right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
The glass version of Now, right? Like the Google Glass sort of interface would make a lot of sense on a watch, and it is very Now like the cards and the really nice formatting. So, I'd be excited about this as well.
Imagine Google Glass not on your face. Like, I think you port Google Glass to the wristwatch, and that just opens up tons of possibilities and all that stuff. You can still talk to it. You can do everything you need to do with it. You can use the swiping, use the cards kind of thing. It integrates with your Google Now. Sign me up. I want one now. So,
yeah, and it's interesting now that I think about it too, because Google and Motorola in particular has gone really far with this whole hands-free thing. Obviously, they're kind of doing that with Glass as well. But with the device, suddenly if this becomes the thing that we're just used to seeing in our devices, is this whole hands-free control or voice-activated control without having to touch the device at all, it makes a whole lot of sense with a watch too, right? You don't even need to touch it. You just lift it up and say, Google, just blah, 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 blah. You talk to it, and it shows you exactly what you need without having to fuss around it. I don't know. This sounds very interesting. I was actually a part of me was very excited when I saw Whim acquired by Google, because I was like, okay, that's kind of what I felt like something along those lines needed to happen for the Whim 1 to reach its potential. Like there was so much potential in that earlier developer preview. It just wasn't quite there, but they obviously were onto something. Google saw that and snapped them up. And now I'm really, really curious to see what Google's got working.
Yeah. I'm just glad they let you out of whatever room you were trapped in.
Yeah, I was watching that video. I was like, wow, I did not set the color balance of that camera correctly.
Just like, wow, I don't remember when you were kidnapped. When was that? Because clearly we did the show and they let you keep your thumb ring, so it couldn't have been that.
Yeah, what can I say?
It's just like, what are you? You're like in a private. You're like in a TSA room at SFO. Like, where are you?
That was before I realized how much work went into recording and editing these reviews. When I could just go on before you buy and just do it live, because I had to shoot and edit all that myself. That's
it was good. I'm sorry. I don't mean to poke fun.
No, it's okay. Whatever. No, I totally agree. Shooting in that room was not the funnest place in the world to shoot a review. It felt like a prison. Okay. Yeah. All right, Gina, a few more things. These were just kind of like random announcements that I heard over the past couple of days. Thought we should mention.
LG announced a new tablet, the G Pad 8.3 this weekend. Tablet's got an 8.3-inch full HD display. The first full HD tablet in 8-inch tablet class. The G Pad 8.3 is powered by 7 gigahertz Snapdragon 600 processor, 2 gigabytes RAM, dual cameras, and a massive 4600 mAh battery. The G Pad introduces a pairing mechanism that works with any phone, not just LG phones. Take a lesson from this, Samsung, called Q-Pair, that allows you to see incoming calls and messages. You can't actually receive or take calls on the G Pad, from what we could tell, but from what I'm sorry, this is a Droid Life reporting. From what Droid Life could tell, but you can respond to texts on the G Pad that come in from your phone. A couple of additional bits of software that offer multitasking with slide aside, Q slide, knock on. These are all software bits that are featured in the recently announced G2 as well. And Acer announced the 6-inch Liquid S2. This is the first phone to offer 4K video recording functionality. The Liquid S2 is a 13-megapixel rear camera with LED ring flash, along with a 2-megapixel front shooter capable of 1080p video. The S2 comes with camera software enhancements like a quick first shot feature that lets you snap a picture right from the phone's unlock screen. And there's also a favorite mode, which lets you create up to 5 profiles with customized settings and effects. 4K video recording is the phone's marquee feature, but it's decidedly more high-end. This is a more high-end phone that we usually see from Acer. Snapdragon 800 chip under the hood, 2.2 gigahertz, and 2 gigabytes RAM. Battery is 3300 mAh, and there's 4G LTE connectivity. Acer will sell this handset in Europe, not in the US. At least for now, it'll launch at the end of October, and we don't have pricing just yet.
4K, smartphone,
4K video.
Necessary.
I mean, this is definitely the video, the camera, a phone for video enthusiasts.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were talking about this on Tech News earlier today. I don't know. The 4K video recording doesn't really grab me.
Yeah.
Hey, that is a long phone. Like, I kind of want to go surfing on that phone. That's how long that phone is.
Doesn't look bad. The gallery's
it's slim, right? I mean, look at it. I mean, like, it's long and slim. It's like, Jason, this could be a phone for you.
Oh yeah, it's tall, it's slender, yeah.
Yeah. I think we should all start using phones that reflect our physical,
Well, let's not go down this road.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I'm not touching this one. I'm not going there. Yeah, 4K just feels like overkill, at least at this stage in the game. I could understand 4K being the kind of feature that, makes a splash in smartphones when they've run out of other things. Maybe they've run out of other things already, but nobody has 4K TVs on which to watch this. I guess you could upload it to YouTube and store it there until you do, right? Because YouTube has 4K
Jason,
upload.
But they will. That's the thing. So, like, the question is how long until the 4K gets adopted? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
This is the beginning of the 4K wave. And
sure.
a year from So I don't know. Maybe they're getting a little ahead of themselves. But,
props for that. I have a hard time believing that the image is 4K amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It might record 4K pixels. Pixels at 4K resolution, but I bet you the sensor isn't that great. Like, that's just a guess. based on previous experience with smartphone cameras.
And I want to check to see how many rubles it costs on that Russian website. So.
Please check into that. Let us know. Get back to us. In the meantime, we'll tackle an email from Tyson Fulton, who wrote, with the recent $100 price drop on the Nexus 4, I went ahead and ordered one, even though my Verizon contract does not expire until Thanksgiving. I would really like to begin using my new phone, especially since my HTC Resound is so unreliable, but do not want to pay the early termination fee. Verizon provides the ability to forward calls, but not text messages. Is there a good, reliable app for forwarding SMS and MMS messages, or at least SMS? I really appreciate your advice. I'm sure there are definitely apps that you can install on a device that will forward your SMS to another location as they come in. I did a lot of searching this afternoon because there's so many of them, but so many of them were developed 2 years ago and they're old school style, and they probably aren't supported as well, or maybe they are, but they just didn't. The screenshots and reviews didn't inspire a lot of confidence in me. But I did come across one called Mighty Text that you should check out. I installed it on my device, and basically it does this. It's serving the purpose of allowing you to send text messages from your PC as well as maybe your tablet. So what you do is you install Mighty Text on your phone. It then syncs up through Google Sign-On as well as Facebook and Twitter, I believe. Twitter Sign-On as well. But it will sync it to the cloud. And then if you install, let's say, the tablet-specific version on your tablet, then you can access and send SMS through your tablet, or you can install it on your PC and do it through there. I didn't have a second phone, so I couldn't test it, but I could between my tablet and my phone. It worked great. But I'm wondering if you have the regular app meant for phones installed on multiple phones, if it will allow you to do that. It might not. So I kind of have part of the question here, but I didn't have two phones to test it out on. Today was crazy. So check into that. Mighty Text is the name of the app. They have two different apps under the Mighty Text name, one for phones and one for tablets. Install that, see if that works for you. It seems like it's really well designed. It kind of has a nice design language to it, and it's modern and all that. So take a look. I hope that helps. Do you guys I don't know, have you heard of any that do this kind of thing?
I was just gonna say, like, Tyson, I know that the whole point of your email is that you don't want to have to change your phone number. So this probably isn't the best advice, but I use a ton of different phones, and I feel like one of the more obvious solutions I've been using Google Voice. And besides the fact that it doesn't support MMS, which is a big deal for people, especially people with kids who MMS their pictures of their kids around, and pets. That's really, really handy because you can switch phones really easily, use them on all your devices. Now Google Voice is like bringing Hangouts on your computer, so it's this one phone number that just works with all your devices. Again, you don't want to change. You obviously don't want to change your phone number. If you're willing to do that, you can just change over to your new carrier. But if you do plan to switch around phones a lot in the future, and I know most people don't, I recommend Google Voice with that MMS caveat.
Yeah, and it's a big caveat for sure. However, if you have a lot of friends in your family and your close family are on Android, use Hangouts for that. That's what me and my wife have started.
Yeah,
that's what we do now. We don't even text each other anymore. We just use Hangouts.
Yeah, just Hangouts.
That's how we chat. And I think that's kind of the direction that Google's going. But from what I understand, and I think we talked about on the show in the past, voice kind of getting merged, folded, interactive with Hangouts in some way. We haven't seen the results of that necessarily. One thing that's interesting about this before we move on, I got a few people on Twitter, including Ayaz, who have said that they've received notifications on their phone that said an MMS, and they're on Google Voice, MMS has been received, check your email to see it. And it was my understanding that that was something that happened with Sprint's kind of deeply embedded Google Voice compatibility, because I know Sprint is the carrier that has that and everybody else doesn't. But it turns out I've had this confirmed from people on Verizon, it happening, whether it was sent from somebody on Sprint or not, on AT&T, and then I believe on T-Mobile. So, but I couldn't replicate it myself. I'm wondering if there's a little bit of testing going on here, that some people are kind of getting this ahead of the game. I don't know. It's total guessing, but
I think
interesting.
they have been expanding that MMS to email capability. It's still not the same as getting an MMS, and it does. It only works some of the time and not others. And I actually haven't been able to suss out which carriers reliably, dependably, every single time support it. I mean, that's the weird thing with the feature is that sometimes you're like you don't know when it's going to work, so you don't ever want to use it or rely on it. I just tell people I can't get MMS. Use Hangouts is actually a good
absolutely.
a good solution.
But even just that notification so that I know that I can tell that person, hey, I didn't see it or whatever. That's all I need. But yeah, it's better than nothing. If it worked reliably, it would be better than nothing.
Yeah, and the other, just to chime in here, the option I use with, and to your point, Jason, about using if you have a controlled group of people that you're interacting with and get them to use Hangouts, I've got for different circumstances, but I've got a lot of my family who are cross iOS and Android all on WhatsApp, which is a separate messaging platform that doesn't use SMS or MMS, but allows you to stay connected. It ties to your phone number, and you're able to see images and things like that. And I've even got my 7-year-old niece sending me messages via it, so it works that way. So
right,
it's an option. So
WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Oh, sorry. All right. Hopefully that helps. Let us know if it does or it does not, Tyson. I'm very curious to hear. AAA@twit.tv. If anyone wants to email, do it. All right. Let's move to apps. Sorry, Chad. I really just jumped right into that one. All right, so this is just a quick mention. When Feedly went away, there was the whole who's going to pick up the pieces and make a really successful feed reader kind of solution. Dig was one of the companies to kind of put their hat in the ring. I have it on my phone right now, a little reader, their solution to the reader anyways. I'll go ahead and pull it up. I got to say, the Dig app is pretty well designed. They did they've got the burger. Is it the burger, Gina?
The burger, the hamburger.
Yeah. They have the hamburger up at the top, and that just made me
Is that
hungry.
what it's called? Is that what is the three lines is called the burger?
The buns and the meat. Yep.
I'm still fascinated by how that's been universally adopted. I still don't understand how that happened.
The name or the functionality?
No, well, yeah. I'm lesser fascinated by the name. I'm more fascinated by the adoption of the convention because it seems to be
everywhere. It's in every
totally
app
cross-platform. It's on the web. It's on iOS. It's on Android. It seems from my research, and I know I'm getting off track of what Dig's doing, which is cool. But from my research, BlackBerry came up with it first, and for some reason, everybody has just fallen in line with it. So who knew?
Well, it's super handy and it's very intuitive. I think, particularly the way it's rolled out on Android. I don't know about the other. Operating systems.
Yeah, the way that it sort of peeks out on the edge on Android is a little different, right? I mean, normally you see the whole thing. I kind of like that, the peek out for the quick view or the quick slide drawer. But yeah, it's everywhere. Anyway, sorry.
Totally aside, before I talk about Dig a little bit more, why does YouTube do that but not up at the top where all of the other Android Google apps do it? All the other...
Where does YouTube do it?
They do it down in like the bottom left.
Yep.
And I've never understood why. Why do that?
Yeah. You're right.
That's the one thing though, is that the hamburger button, while it's used in uniformity as a device, I have noticed it moves around a lot. Like you'll see it in the upper right-hand corner on some apps. You see it in the upper left-hand corner. On YouTube, it's in the lower right corner. I mean, so we haven't all agreed as to where it goes. But we all know that when you see those three bars, that's what it means, which I think is genius. So,
Matt W says Maps is the same way. I guess I didn't notice it there.
Oh Maps does have it in a weird place. That I did notice. I had noticed it on YouTube.
Anywho, so they have their feed reader functionality built into their app now, and it's cool. It's a little feed reader. I think I messed up when I was teasing this by saying that Feedly went away when I really meant
Google Reader.
Google Reader. There we go.
I was gonna say, wow, Feedly didn't last very long.
Yeah,
did
no,
they?
Feedly's around and strong.
The loss of Feedly. I missed it. Wow.
Goodbye. No, I'm calling the future. No, yeah, that was my mistake. But anyways, it's cool. Check it out if you're searching for a good Android kind of feed reader alternative. Dig has theirs now, and it was really easy to kind of add sources and search through the ones that they have. And, it's a pretty standard basic one. I don't know. It's so hard for me to go back to the feed reader after just kind of, I don't know, using Flipboard and all the other ones that are a little bit more kind of like graphically interesting.
Magazine style.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I'm firmly pulled into the magazine style feed reader now. Okay. Apparently.
All right. So, well, speaking of, I don't know, speaking of whatever.
Speaking of things.
Speaking of things.
Speaking of
Twitter,
UI.
Speaking of UI, there you go. Thank you for the assist.
Good job,
My Twitter feed was all Twitter for the past week about everybody complaining and bemoaning over this new line. And as somebody who uses TweetDeck predominantly and Falcon Pro on my phone, I didn't know what the heck they were talking about until I looked it up and I realized that, and I looked into it, that Twitter rolled out a new approach to conversations on their platform, and it is live now on the Twitter Android apps. And what they've done is they've added this little thin line that connects tweets in conversation, so basically a reply. So if I posted on Twitter and then Jason replied to it, as opposed to his reply appearing above it in the timeline chronologically, now it appears below it as a response to his tweet, which I guess makes sense, but then at the same time throws off the whole chronological viewing aspect of it. But that said, it's a change to Twitter and people fear change, and so everybody's complaining about it. So
yeah, it collapses into it, so it actually makes more sense. It made more sense to me once I used it than
that's exactly when you first see it, you're just like, what? And then once you use it, you're like, oh, okay, I see. But at the same time, a lot of people are misunderstanding that sometimes these services that are so evolved make changes just for the sake to make changes, because now we're all talking about it and using it. So
fair enough. And especially Twitter, right? At least, and I'm not sure if this was necessarily the entire reason for this kind of update, but on Android, Twitter really wants you using their app. Period. Yep. End of story. They're making it more and more difficult for anyone else developing Twitter apps to, kind of maintain their foothold, even though that's kind of what the power of their service kind of built up on initially.
In their defense, they have made huge improvements to their Android app, and it's actually a very nice app right now.
Yeah, they've really improved it.
Yep,
absolutely.
It's my primary client now on Twitter, for Twitter on Android, and my one complaint was that the notifications were terrible. It just said new interactions. It didn't tell you what happened, but they've changed that since, and it looks really good. I complained about the blue line, but I was completely joking. Like, at this point, I mean, Twitter is a lot of things, but it really is a platform for complaining. So it always amuses me when it turns in on itself and people complain about changes on Twitter. I mean, at this point, the backlash against Twitter changes it is really just feels like a parody of itself. It's like, oh, Twitter changed something and everyone's freaking out about it on Twitter.
Yeah, it's like funny. A script at this point that you can just kind of read. Okay, Twitter made the change. Check. Okay, people freaking out. Check.
What's so funny
and then everybody will forget about it. Yeah. And it'll be the normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's so funny is because on the desktop I use TweetDeck, and they didn't make this change to TweetDeck, and I saw everybody going, "What's this blue line?" and people changing their avatar to be a square with the blue line. And so I popped over to Twitter on the web, and years and years and years ago, I customized my Twitter page with my background, and I tweaked all the colors. So I actually have a burgundy line as opposed to a blue line. I'm like, why is everyone talking about a blue line? Mine's like kind of reddish. And then I was like, oh, that's my fault.
Oh, Ron Burgundy?
Anchorman, December.
Ron Burgundy?
Stay classy, Twitter.
All right. All right. Sorry, I had to do that.
No, I love it. Love it. Finally, last story in apps here. We got Spotify Connect, a new feature from Spotify for premium paid subscription members. Spotify Connect will store your current listening sessions in the cloud, and you'll be able to use any of your devices to control where and how your music plays. So it's rolling out on iOS in the coming months, with Android and desktop to come. Basically, this means if you're listening to Spotify on one of your phones, you say your phone, you can switch over to your tablet and pick up right where you left off. And the other part of this is that Spotify Connect will be compatible with certain wireless speakers. So if you're listening to music on your way home on your phone, say, and you walk in your house, you can just fling or transfer the stream of music exactly where you were at to your Spotify Connect compatible wireless speakers. at home. Like I said, they're launching on iOS first in the coming months, along with a bunch of kind of high-end wireless speaker providers as well. And Android is to come, which is kind of annoying. And I thought I'd bring it up because we were talking about this on Tech News Today earlier today, and it was like, oh, this is a lot like AirPlay. And well, it's like, well, one of the differentiating factors here would be that it would be available to Android users, but it looks like Android's kind of playing second fiddle, at least in the initial launch. So I just wanted to say, grr arg.
Grr arg.
Grr arg.
Yeah. I wonder also if just kind of working in the hardware space, or maybe this is a myth from days of yore when it comes to Android, and maybe it's not necessarily the same way now, but interacting kind of advanced features like this on Android used to be very difficult, and on the iOS side, everything was so tightly integrated and so few devices that it was not to mention there were a lot of users now. Has that changed? Would we say that that's changed on the Android ecosystem now, that having these kind of like hardware interactions between apps like this to, speaker devices around the house and everything, that's not as much of an issue nowadays?
I mean, I haven't done a whole lot of development like along these lines, but it has gotten easier, just based entirely on sort of developer announcement at recent IOs and with Kickstarter projects like that little button that you plug into your speaker, headset. Like, I believe that these things are a lot easier now. And it seems like Android is just, it's the operating system that you run on all the crazy different kind of bits of hardware, right? It's going to be on your refrigerator and your toaster and your glasses and your, set-top box or whatever. So it seems like these things would be easier. This doesn't feel like what could we launch on first because it would be easier, right? Decision. This feels more like, I don't know.
Stuck in the old way of thinking.
iOS is for fancy people with hipster glasses, so they're more willing to. I don't know. I'm totally speculating here. This is me just being sort of sarcastic and cynical about it. And look, we don't know how long it's going to take them for them to ship the Android version after the iOS version. The iOS version hasn't even rolled out yet. But yeah, and this is again for paid members, so Spotify Connect. I mean, Spotify is competing with the iOS ecosystem of sort of music playing, and I mean Google has that as well. It just seems like the competition would be stiffer, like having the choice between AirPlay and Spotify. It just seems like Android would have been a good place for them to launch initially, or as Ron has argued, many times, launch at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, we'll see more and more of that. John Fingus, previous guest on the show, we'll definitely have John back sometime soon, said in the chat room. It really does seem like the developer MO still hasn't changed much. iOS first, Android gets the seconds. That's unfortunate. We still kind of do see that.
Simultaneous release. I can't say it enough. Simultaneous release. It's the best way to get the biggest bang for your buck. I know it's harder, and I know it's more difficult. You got to have more people, more developers. And if you're a small startup and you've only got an iOS guy and that's it, but you can. The numbers are you can't do it anymore. Like I wish I had venture capital so I could launch an app on with a simultaneous release.
Just to do it. Just to launch it simultaneously. Yeah. The only reason I created this app was so that I could release it simultaneously to show you how it's done.
I'm going to call the app simultaneous release, and all it's going to do is just get released on platforms.
Excellent. All right. Well, so there we have it. Let's waste no more time when there could be a battle to be won. Let's get into the arena.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
Oh, I'm sorry.
God, there's so many KitKats there, and I can't have any of them.
At least you got the minis, Jason. You can at least.
Oh, thank you.
Here, you can have one.
Can you put a KitKat into the chat room?
There you go. You can have one. Yeah, this is for you, chat room. There we go. All right. Oh, and Patrick De La Hendy swoops in. You're stealing that from the chat room, sir. I just want you to know that. All right, he got it. So that's never going to get old to me. I'm sure the audio listeners are like, move on. Straw poll from last week, episode 124. of our Android arena. Let's see which app won. Timely alarm clock. Yes, 50% of the votes. Floating widget came in second at 25%. And Minium keyboard.
Well, it's tied. Tied for second.
Oh, okay. That's right. No, they are tied. Floating widget and Minium keyboard tied at 25%. However, Minium keyboard does come in last place with 86 votes versus floating widget's 88 votes.
Well, listen, what is the electoral college rules of the arena here? I see 25%. I go with that.
I think the percentage is the first step, and then if there's a tie, the number of votes is the fallback. Wrong. That's okay because you're bringing it this week. Let me pull up your app and you talk about it. Hopefully it's installed. I know I tried to install it.
So there's a couple of different kind of app categories that I'm always on the lookout for to find like the app that will solve that category for me or update it. And I think I'm close to one with this new release of a file management application that's called Sliding Explorer. It's free in Android in the Google Play App Store. Wow, that's an old one. The Android App Store, in the Google Play App Store, and it works on both tablets and phones. Although the tablet experience could be a little more tablet specific, but that's okay. But basically, it's a hollow designed file manager that uses the hamburger button, as you'll notice, and it's just a really simple, nice, elegant way to explore and interact with your file system on your tablet. It's got great, it's using the Google standard navigation, drawer navigation on the left side to pull out your kind of options. On your tablet or your phone, you can choose from your SD card or the internal memory of the phone. You can create folders, you can delete them, you can rename them, you can unzip and extract files, you can zip files, which is something that, sometimes you need to do when you're on the go, and doing it on your phone can be maddening. It's got a couple really cool kind of other options. You can get image previews, so if you tap on an image, you can see that image. You can create shortcuts that are going straight to the directories. You can also, if you have an APK on there, you can tap on the APK and get a preview of the icon of the app, which is pretty cool. So there you can see the previews. So if you tap on one of them, it will go a little bigger. So all in all, it's a really nice file manager, and it's really kind of leveraging all of the things that have made us kind of rave about Android to date. It's very familiar in terms of the UI infrastructure, and it lets you do everything that I need to do with it with a file manager. I'm really impressed by this one. Like I said, I would like to see a little more specific tablet version where maybe the file navigation is on one side and the image preview appears to the right. Take that away. Bad picture.
Oh, sorry. I meant this one.
Oh, thanks. Thanks so much.
Wow. But yeah, no, it's neat. I mean, it just makes it really simple to interact with the files on your tablet, which I know not everyone needs to, and this is kind of more of a power user type thing. But it lets you, and then even more, you can see there in the settings, you can enable root mode, which is pretty interesting. So you're able to access files as in root without actually rooting your device, which is kind of fascinating. So and it's fast, and it just runs, and it works. So that's Sliding Explorer. And it's free in the Android App Store, and I strongly recommend it. Have you guys noticed that they've taken away in the Google Play Store the number of downloads? Oh, no, there it is. Oh, forget
it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
They moved it.
Yeah, they moved it.
It was gone the other day. It appears to be back now.
Yeah, it was definitely gone when they first launched the redesign.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, yeah, it installs. Okay. Oh, so the chart. Okay, the chart is gone.
The chart is
gone.
gone.
The chart is gone. Yeah, now it's down at the bottom, which is under the reviews. Yeah, so...
And it's always like these crazy ranges, like, 5,000 to 50,000 downloads or 100,000 to 500,000. But it gives you an idea of a range.
Totally.
As a developer, it drives me crazy because I want to see the exact number. But I guess for users, it makes sense.
Yeah, because you get a gauge of how. I mean, I use it for popularity. Like, okay, are a lot of people using it or not, and that sort of thing. But anyway, so Sliding Explorer, check it out. Really cool, really nice, elegant file manager. It's the one I'm using now. From here on out, I ditched Astro, and I'm going to use this one.
Boom. Might
Nice.
do that as well. Excellent. Sliding Explorer, and that is free. Gina, what do you have?
So I think it was 2 episodes ago when we talked about the new YouTube app redesign, how it has that in-app, how you can resize the window to kind of have the video that you're watching float. That only works in-app. And I was saying on the show, well, I think what would be really cool is if you could have, your YouTube video kind of floating over other apps, so you could be doing something else and watching that YouTube video. The native YouTube app does not do that. It's only in-app, but there is a third-party app which does. This is a little confusing. In the Play Store, the app is called YouTube Floating HD Player. I know it's kind of a mouthful. When you install the app, it's called Showtime.
Okay. Because I installed it, and then I'm like scrambling trying to find it. And thank you.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Jason. When you install it, the app is called Showtime. I can only imagine that Google came and said, "Hey, please don't use the word YouTube in your app title," and maybe the developer just hasn't changed the listing. Maybe the developer didn't want to use the name Showtime in the Play Store because it would be too, people might confuse it with like the network Showtime. Anyway, it's a little confusing, but search for YouTube Floating HD Player in the Play Store to get this app. And basically what this is, what Showtime is, once it's installed, it's called Showtime. It's an alternative YouTube app. And it's got a lot of features. You can, browse and discover videos. The one feature that I care about and that I use is that it lets you float the video on top of what you're doing. Of what you're doing. So say if I wanted to watch a Twitch show, which I really enjoy watching the videos much more than just listening to the audio, but I'm on my tablet and I want to just be kind of sorting through email or, writing text messages, or I want to be doing something else and just have that kind of little video window sized where I want it and in the corner. You can do this with Showtime. So you pick a video you want to watch, and when you tap on it, there's a little control button, which lets you resize the window or have the pop-out player float above whatever it is that you're doing.
It's not working for me. And
what? I think something's weird.
I think it's the MHL.
Yes, because if I look, you click it again, hit it again, because you have stuff on the screen, but when I look at it, I don't. So I think MHL is...
It's totally off the screen. Let me unplug from MHL, and if you have the product, then I'll try and pull it up that way.
Here?
Yeah, so if you tap so it looks... okay. So it should show you it's a button. I think it's on the upper right.
Oh,
look at that! You don't have the button.
I'm getting a button down in the bottom right corner. That little button. Is that what you're talking about?
That must be it.
But see, it gets hidden anytime I hit it by the controls.
Oh, so that's so crazy. Is that it's a Galaxy Nexus?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, this isn't a very good example. I saw some folks in the comments saying that with some devices, some devices didn't allow the pop-up player. Let's try one other video. That button is in the bottom right-hand corner, like you said. Let's try one more.
Can you move to portrait mode and will it
and then tap that?
Now hit it.
And then
let's see here. Boop.
Yeah, good call, Chad. So then it.
There we go.
There you go.
Yay.
Thank you. So you've got the floating video window. You can resize it by grabbing that little corner, and you can place it anywhere on the screen that you want. It'll mess with their aspect ratio as well. So you can watch a video while you're doing other stuff. Look, this is pretty impractical on a phone where you have you don't have much real estate to begin with, but really nice on a tablet, especially when you're watching something, a little longer, something like a Twitch show. Works really well, lets you get stuff done. Or if you want to play a game and listen to a show, although I don't know, maybe you don't want some of your screen taken up with the game. Really nice, just little function. This really is the only function. This is the only thing I use this app for. It's just like, hey, I want to watch a video while I get other stuff done, and this will do it. There is a free version which is ad supported. It's got a little banner at the bottom, and there's also a paid version, which I believe is $3.99 US, and that takes away the advertisement, and also has an offline mode, which I'm not exactly sure. I believe it might let you save videos offline, but I haven't confirmed that yet. So that's YouTube Floating HD Player and YouTube Floating HD Player Pro. And remember, it's called Showtime once you install it.
Excellent. YouTube Floating HD Player. The developer is Mata, M-A-T-A, if that helps to search for it as well.
Yep.
There you go. Excellent. And that is free.
Cool.
Okay, so mine I'm doing because I actually have an email that I can read a part of to kind of unveil it, because I did not find this on my own, but somebody pointed it out to me, and I've I'm in love with it. Let's see here. It's Paul emailed and said, as a faithful watcher listener to most everything on the network, I've always been a little disappointed in the Android apps available to follow Twit. It seems, let's see here. Last week, I just happened to search the Play Store and found a new Twit app that was added only earlier that day. Pleasant fluke on my part. It seems to be the best of both live with IRC and downloading as well. Could use some polish and design, like when viewing the shows tab, it's not intuitive to click on the all shows to change that, but the function is there. Any gripes I may have are overshadowed by the fact that it's a V1 release and is still better than anything I've tried. After emailing the author, he maintains it shall remain cost and ad-free. It's something he did for himself because nothing else was out there filling his needs. And it's called Twit Pro. And it's actually a pretty snazzy Twit app. So I'll go ahead and launch it here. And
You're not playing to the hometown crowd with this one.
Let's see. Well, yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so basically you've got your downloads, which you can set up your favorite shows essentially, and you can kind of download them within the app. I've set up favorite shows. Let's see here. I just grabbed a couple. TNT, This Week in Google, Security Now, All About Android. So it gives you a list of kind of the latest.
OMG crap.
Oh, that's down at the bottom, Chad. I promise.
Okay.
So it gives you a list of the latest shows, and you have the opportunity to basically go through and select what format of the video, for example, that you want to stream it at. I'll go ahead and stream the small video downloaded version, and it will automatically launch in and go right into it. Or you can download it directly to the device. But what's really cool here is, so live, you have all of the different services, right? I'll go into Ustream Video. It automatically, and so, okay, so we have the live video playing underneath, right? Yeah. So
that's really trippy. So I'm going to cut to something here. Boop. There we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is it Inception at that point? All right. So there we go.
Right now we're at three.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. All right. Well, obviously it was playing the live Twit video fed into itself, and yes, Inception ensues.
Go deeper.
There we go. All right. So as you can see, there's a little floating chat down here. You can set it up so that it automatically logs you in as your nickname. If I go into Portrait. Now it's getting really confusing because we're seeing the duplication. Anyways, we're watching live video right now, okay? So don't let that confuse you. But I have my chat down here, so I can go ahead and say, hi, chat. And I'll go ahead and send that. Let's see here. Where is it? There we go. And boom. I'm user 4658. Apparently, I didn't set it up with my nick, or I already have it on my laptop. But anyways, what I really like about this is it's an integrated way to watch the stream and participate in the chat at the same time. If you have it in portrait mode, I haven't seen an app on Android do this. What are you laughing
Infinite
at?
chat.
It really is, yes. It's a little strange. Anyways, so there you go. You can set your preferred nickname, as I said. You can actually disable the chat if you don't want the chat to be on there, and you can launch it without. And instead, you get a little schedule down here of what's live and what's coming up next and all that. So it is a V1 release, a version 1 release. There are definitely, ways that it can likely improve. My hope is that the developer feels, emboldened by getting some more downloads of it, or at least Android folks to check it out and test it. There are a lot of Android apps for Twit, and though some of them are great, none of them are amazing. Like, oh my gosh, this is the be all end all. So instead, let's point out a few of them that we have out there, because we always get the question, like, what app do I use on Android to watch the shows? This one allows you to watch and chat at the same time. I thought that was pretty neat. So it's called Twit Pro. Check it out. It's free. It sounds like the developer is not going to charge for it going forward, and see what you think. Email us at aa@twit.tv and see if this is, a Twit app that, maybe it fills something that you didn't find in the other apps. I don't know, but it's another option to check for. So there we go. And thank you to Paul for emailing that in and bringing that to our attention. I think it's a great app to look at. There we go. So we have 3 apps: Sliding Explorer, YouTube Floating HD Player, Twit Pro. You can check it out at aaapoll.com/125. Vote, make your voice heard. Let's go ahead and check that voting out And that wasn't English. Oh, okay. Well, yes. I'm sorry, Ron. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
I know, but I wanted to point it out.
Homer.
No, maybe not.
Listen. There's a section called apps that this would have been perfect in.
You know what? You're right.
I'm just saying. You know?
Sorry. Well, next time Angry Birds comes out, you can do that. You get the. Actually, no, Angry Birds isn't quite a slam dunk anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. That's for sure.
All right. Well, no matter what, I can go first next week.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Ron.
It's cool.
Here, you know what, Ron? I'm going to send you a KitKat. Is that?
Oh, excellent. That makes up for it.
I'll drop it off in the mail.
Can you just attach it to the email and then we'll be all set? Okay, cool.
Yes, actually, I can do that very easily.
Great, excellent.
Paperclip.
There you go. Yes, exactly. All right, so there you go. Vote aaapoll.com/125. Next week, Father Robert Balacer joins us once again to talk Android on the show. Very stoked to welcome him back to the show. But well done, everyone. This was a jam-packed episode, I think.
It was a fun one.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think there were a lot of really good one-liners that will make a good best of at the end of the year. I know there were at least a couple up towards the top of the show. So it is promotion time. Gina, what do you have going on right now? What are you working on these days?
I also co-host This Week in Google here on the Twit Network, and that airs tomorrow, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific. I'm also going to be, like I said, live on for the Samsung event tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. When I'm not on Twit, I work on an app called ThinkUp. If you go to thinkup.com, you can sign up for our waiting list. Right now, it's an open source app you can download and install on your own web server. But if you don't want to go through all that hassle, we're working on launching a really easy hosted web service. And if you sign up for the waiting list, thinkup.com right now, you can get first access to it. So check it out.
Awesome. And Ron, what you doing these days?
Well, on a personal note, my Chromecast did arrive last week, and I did get to play with it, and it is indeed super cool.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Although now that I have with a Google TV, I don't really need it, so I think I'm gonna use it on the road, like that sort of thing. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'll keep you posted. I'm gonna start a Tumblr all about my life with Chromecast. No, I'm not. Anyway, but in the meantime, you can go to about.me/RonXO, and you can find all the links to my social media stuff like Google Plus and Twitter and Facebook and all that fun stuff. And by day, go check out Image Comics at imagecomics.com. Fine purveyor of fine comics and graphic novels, including everything available digitally. So go check it out, and that's what I do when I'm not sleeping. So.
Excellent. And you're a hard worker with those comics. You
I
keep
try.
it up.
Yeah.
Chad, what kind of crafty things do you have going on these days?
Well, I help craft a show called Twig and Mac Break Weekly and Twit. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yep, that's what I was referring to.
Great. Yeah, and then I also do some Minecraft stuff with OMG Craft, and I also host a show all about YouTube to help those creators out there know what's going down with that tiny little site for video hosting. That's This Week in YouTube.
Do you think that's going to take off? That
you know, we've been discussing that every episode. You know, to find out do we think that YouTube is ever going to get users?
Right. Yeah.
Still up in the air.
That's the key thing. You need
it's too early.
Yeah, I mean, you can upload all the video you want, but if no one's there watching, then what are you going to do?
Well, it's kind of a funny niche that they have
it's
with
very
that.
niche-y.
But
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know if it's going to really get wide appeal.
Very niche.
Well, I have faith that you could turn it around, Chad.
Good.
You could make YouTube
with our
a
show,
success.
This week in YouTube, I think we'll give them the promotion they need to become something bigger.
That's what they needed. That's what YouTube needs is a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can find me at about.me/Jason Howell and music stuff, yellowgoldmusic.com or on Twitter at
Congratulations
Jason
on the Kickstarter.
Oh yes, it's so
congratulations.
Funded like crazy, and now the hard work begins, which is fulfillment.
Right now you actually do the work.
Yeah, no, and it's a lot of work, but I'm stoked. I'm super stoked that it was such a success, and I can't wait to get all the music out to all the folks that pitched in. So thank you if you did. If you didn't, it's going to be free. The album's going to actually be free when it's finally released. So that's kind of been my goal here. So you can get it eventually after the pre-release for the Kickstarter.
Yeah, but will it be on the Google Play Store?
Oh, well, no, it won't because, well, actually, it can be. I have an artist account with Play Music, and I have my other album for free on the Play Store. So, yeah, it'll be there.
All right, awesome.
Right
I'll
on.
put it there.
Awesome.
I will put it there. So that's it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Great week of news. You can always leave us a voicemail at 347-SHOW-AAA, or you can leave us an email if you want your fingers to do the talking. That's aaa@twit.tv. You can also send us a link to your video, and that's a video mail. We'll play that on the show. We love those. Find the show on Twitter. We're at Android Show. We're on Google+, all about Androids. Just search for us there. Fantastic community there as well. Show notes can always be found at twit.tv/AAA. You can always also find our past episodes there, as well as iTunes and YouTube. That place called YouTube. You may have heard of it. And you can catch us live every Tuesday starting at 5 p.m. Pacific at live.twit.tv. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week on another delicious episode of All About Android. I'm sugar high.